Lesson 2, learning to use your camera's viewfinder. Looking through a camera's viewfinder is a lot different than looking at your monitor on your phone when you're taking photos. You may wonder why mirrorless cameras and DSLRs have viewfinders. Well, one of the main advantages is that when you're looking through the viewfinder, you're blocking out any potential distractions and you can concentrate on taking great photos. Another advantage of using the viewfinder is that when you look at the monitor, you can quite often see glare and reflection, especially when you're taking photos in bright light, like on a sunny day. This can make it really difficult to clearly see the picture that you're composing. So as you use your viewfinder, you're not being distracted by this glare or reflection that can come off your monitor. I'm quite comfortable using my viewfinder to take photos because that's how I learned. On film SLR cameras, there is no monitor, so you have to use the viewfinder. Bringing the camera up to your eye and looking through the viewfinder helps you concentrate on what you're photographing. And keeping your other eye closed as you're taking photos also helps you to concentrate more on what you're doing. All modern cameras have live view. This function allows you to compose your photos while you're looking at your monitor. There's usually a button on the back of the camera to turn this feature on and off. When you first make the transition from using your phone to using your camera, you'll probably be more comfortable using live view because it's most similar to how you take photos with your phone. Your camera's monitor is probably not as large as your phone screen is, but it still makes it easy to compose photos with. Many cameras have articulated monitors. These are not fixed in place and can be flipped out, making it easier to view the monitor from many angles. On some cameras, monitor movement is more flexible than on other models. Being able to control the angle of the monitor makes it easier to see when you're not holding the camera directly in front of you. You can hold your camera above your head and angle the monitor downwards so you can see it. Or you can hold your camera at waist level and angle the monitor facing up. This method is helpful for taking candid photos of people because they are less likely to suspect that you're photographing them when you're not holding your camera up to your eye. Being able to flip the monitor out like this can make it much easier to take photos from a low angle, a worm's eye view. It means that you don't have to get right down on the ground to compose your photos. You'll appreciate how helpful this is the older you get. On sunny days and other times when the light is harsh and bright, using your monitor to compose your photos can be quite challenging. The reflection and glare that you'll see in your monitor will make it difficult to see what you're actually composing a photo of. Wearing a black shirt with no print on it also helps. A light-coloured printed or patterned shirt reflects in the monitor and makes it hard to view. I find using my camera's viewfinder is the best option in bright light. Using the viewfinder, most all of the reflected light and glare is blocked out from your vision, so it's much easier to concentrate on the photo that you're composing. Holding your camera steady can be more difficult using live view. You have to extend your arms from your body to be able to see the monitor, and this can cause some instability when you're taking photos. So for this reason, when you need to take photos with a slow shutter speed, it's a better option to use your viewfinder because you'll be more stable holding your camera like this. Lesson 2, practical exercise, learning to use your camera's viewfinder. In this exercise, you'll learn about when to use your camera's viewfinder or when to look at the monitor to compose your photos. Sometimes there's practical reasons. Other times, it's a matter of personal preference. Find a subject to photograph either indoors or somewhere outside in the shade. Take a few photos of it first using your viewfinder, so looking through the camera's viewfinder to make your composition, and then take some more photos of it using the live view on your monitor. And then take your subject to an area where it's brighter and take another series of photos using both your viewfinder and the monitor. Pay attention to your monitor and look at the differences in how easy it is to see through the viewfinder than using the monitor in the bright sun. How much reflection or glare can you see on your camera's monitor as you compose your photos? Particularly notice this as you're moving around. Does this reflection and glare make it more difficult to compose your photos? Even though it's not full sun here, it's still quite bright and very difficult to see the monitor. In these conditions, I find it much easier to use the camera's viewfinder. Then take some more photos from a worm's eye view. Set your camera on the ground or hold it just above the ground and take some photos while looking through the viewfinder. Do the same using live view. If your monitor is articulated, make the best use of this feature. I think you'll find this much easier than looking through the viewfinder when your camera is low to the ground. Practice using the options you have with your camera, looking through the viewfinder or using the monitor. And don't forget to save 2 or 3 of your best photos from this exercise to your favorites folder and also take a few photos with your phone. Don't forget to take some notes as you're working through this exercise too. The main points from this lesson are: make good use of both the viewfinder and the monitor. Using the viewfinder makes it easier to compose in bright light. Using the monitor makes it easier to take photos when it's difficult to see through the viewfinder. Practice this to improve your photography. Use both the viewfinder and the monitor when composing photos until you're comfortable using both.